Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful spring day. It's March 3rd. March 3rd. No, maybe March 4th today. Today I'm coming on and we're going to be talking about cover plate dies, how to use them, what do they look like, what kind of variations are there, things like that. So today is going to be about utilizing a regular cover plate die, and I'll show you some examples of the three different kinds that I'm aware of. Maybe there's more, I don't know, but these are the ones that I have and that I use. So these are the two examples that I have here. They both turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with them. They're quite lovely cards and not necessarily my style using the like kind of the floral and the butterflies. I don't typically use those kind of things. And yeah, gets you using your backgrounds that you might already have. So this one was an alcohol ink on poster board, and this one here was alcohol inks done on glitter paper. So I don't know if you can see the shine in there, but yeah. So I was really happy with how these two turned out. So that's kind of what we're going to work on today. We're using cover plate dies. Yay. Okay. So check in your stash because you likely have some. Um, Probably. Please don't go out and buy more because you might already have. Okay. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of different styles of cover plate dies. Okay. So the first kind that we have, and I'm going to show you, these are the ones that I've pre-cut, just so that you guys don't have to watch me gluing them all together and stuff like that. So I'll be using these three today to make cards with. But these are, so I'm sorry, I can't link any of these. These are from a variety of places. Some of them are Sizzix, Spellbinders. I might have gotten some from Michaels. I've gotten them from all over the place, and some are probably from Ali as well. So yeah, and they've all come out of their packaging because, I never keep any of these, and I've had a lot of these for a long time, and I didn't know that I was going to be doing YouTube thingies and tutorials and things like that where it was important to know what your supply is. So I have none of them labeled. So any cover plate die will work. Is what I'm going to say. So just check your stash first and foremost. Okay. So here we have like one that's a pinstripe. This one's a chevron. This one is actually for a slimline pinstripe kind of thing. Nice little kind of hexagon stars. This one's circles. That's actually hmm, let's see here. So this is an example here of this particular die. Okay. Uh, yeah. So there's all sorts of kind of. So there's this one here. So you can see that it cuts through all the way. So this is what it comes out as. Okay. Is this piece of white. Typically, cover plate dies fit A2 size cards, so 4.25 by 5.5. I've stretched them out and put them onto the bigger card. So this is 6.5 by 5, but this is still 4.25 by 5.5. Okay, so it would fit on. This is an A2 size card. See, that would be an exact, and how close that is there. You can see there, if I put this right up to the edge, you would have a very fine little border once you put this. So it covers the entire front of your panel. Okay. Um, yeah, so this is another style. This one has a lot of extra space on it. This one's really cute for Christmas, right? So you kind of get the Christmas stars and then you can put your sentiment or something like that on there. So it partially cuts out and then it's just got a big kind of empty space here. It's similar to this one here. Another one, another one, another one. That's this one here. Okay. So that's how it's going to look there. This is, yeah. Okay. So there's all sorts of them. This is these stars here. Okay. So there's all sorts of designs for this particular type of cover plate die. Now, the other one that I'm going to show you, I'm not doing them this time, but it will be in one of the upcoming videos, okay? These are dies that, these are cover plates, but they're actually for making impressions. So they emboss or they add texture, but it is still the same size as your card front. Okay, so 4.25 by 5.5. So this one is like a paisley swirl. This one cuts out the center, but then it has all of these rays to do a really nice sun or something like that. This one is like a pinstripe, but let's see if I take this out of the package. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see these, but you can see all of the little indentations. So it's going to give you the this is going to push into the paper, but it doesn't cut. So it's just going to give you texture, which is really quite lovely. So this will be something that we'll be playing with in a future video. This one's like a cloud, like a stormy, cloudy background, some mermaid scales or scallop one. This one is incredibly fine, but it's poinsettias in the background. Oh, I'm going to have to pull that out because you can't see that. But look at, you can just catch that side there. So it just impresses into your paper the extra texture. So it's really lovely when you're doing like a white on white technique to add texture and depth to your project. Sorry, my poor chair. It's like, why do you keep sitting on me? Now, the third video in the series that we're going to be doing, or that I'll be doing anyways, third or fourth anyways, this is called a kaleidoscope die. And essentially it is a cover plate die that has 4 different layers to it. And each one cuts your layer, and then it fits onto your card. So this has the most space on it. So this is your background. So similar to when you're doing layering stencils, this cover plate die is the same, but essentially your card is basically complete. So you have your background, whatever color you want on the base. Then you cut this out. That would go onto your base color. And then the next one, so this one has the next least amount of, so this is the fullest one. This is going to sit on top like this. So you would do that in a different color or ink it, whatever you want to do. And then we have this one. So basically, as the layers continue to layer up, you get really beautiful dimension. You start to see as it's going down to the base of the card, but you get finer and finer details with the final one coming on here. And I think I have 5 or 6 of this kind of die. I actually had thought that I had lost them, but as you know, I've been doing a lot of tidying and organizing and stuff like that. And I emptied this box and discovered it was a shoe box full of dies. I thought I had all my dies out. Turns out I didn't. I thought I had sold them or given them away. So I found them and I'm going to play with them and I'm going to show you how to use them. Because they're absolutely beautiful, simple, easy. Well, I was going to say they're simple and easy peasy. Once you've chosen your colors, then it's very easy. You cut out your 4 layers, you glue them together, poof, you've got your card. It's all done, which is really nice. Okay. So what I want to do, so I have chosen some backgrounds that I'm going to create cards out of that I want to use my cover plate dies on. So as you can see here, I also have a few others that I had done. So I already cut these out and have glued them down. And now I just have to embellish them. So these are all actually backgrounds that I did using alcohol inks. Maybe check out my videos. If I remember, I'll try and link them if I can figure out how to do it. But yeah, so I've already done these. Now with the cover plates, I did cut them out 3 times to give them a little bit more heft. You don't have to do that. I just like to have that extra little bit of dimension on there. It helps it kind of pop off of the card. Now on these 2, I also used some distress inks, and because I just cut them out of white cardstock, and then I added some colors that would help it go with the background. So sometimes what's really great about background dies, like for example, this one, you can see how dark the back of this particular the background is, but by putting my cover plate die on top of it, I've actually lightened it up quite a bit. It was also incredibly shiny. It was, like this, so blind you. So be grateful I've already put this on there, because otherwise you guys would be, this could be a seizure inducing kind of thing as I flash it in the light at you. Whoop, 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 like that. Anyway, sorry, I just totally got distracted there. Bring on the shine, bring on the shine, bling, bling, bling. Yeah, so I did just some simple color blending on here with colors that are coordinating with the background. And because they were distress inks or a water reactive ink, then I was able to splash some water, get some water droplets on it, and then I got this extra layer of texture as well. So not only do I have the texture from the back from the alcohol inks, which was a very busy, dark print, I now have the extra added heft of 3 layers of cardstock for the cover plate die, and then the different colors. Plus, I've added the water splotches to give it that kind of starry galaxy look. Now, I have some little aliens that I like to use, which was my intent to put on here, but apparently I haven't colored them yet. So I'm going to put this one away. I'm not going to be finishing this one today because I don't have my little guys colored because I have some. So, for example, like, okay, this guy here, he's cute little balloon and things like that. But this one, when I did this background, I'm sure, I'm going to see if I can get that in close enough. You can see that it's actually like an iridescent, not iridescent, holographic paper in behind. So it's just the silver holographic paper, but it's got stars in the background. So I did this with shades of like dark blue and black and a little bit of green and some colors because I wanted to make a galaxy background because I intended to put my little aliens on here. That's the intent. So, but I apparently have used all of them and I need to color some more. So this one we're not going to complete today. I'm going to put that to the side here. Same thing here. So you can see this one, you can see a little bit better. You can see the stars kind of imprinted into the, however, laser printed, whatever that is on the holographic paper that's on the back. But this one, again, I was doing kind of a galaxy look, but I used like darker blues and then some greens. And I think I had some turquoise in here. So I used the same colors when I did the ink blending on the white that I originally had here. Okay. So we'll see about finishing this one. Ideally, I would again like to use my aliens, but we'll see. I might find a different one that I like better. Okay. So we've got these ones together already. So this is a nice heavyweight cardstock. This one's 110 pounds. It's the top. And then I've got a this is a 65-pound card front. And I'm going to, so this is the die here. So you can see the size. So I'll cut one out here. Basically you put it onto your card panel. So this card panel is 4.25 by 5.5. So standard A2 size. And I'm just going to fit it on here. And I'm going to pull out my plates to run it through my die cutting machine. And so today I will be using my Gemini Junior, running it through. Its plates, and I've got the sandwich, whatever the sandwich is for your die cutting machine, that's what you want to use. For me, I'm using one of the Gemini Junior plates, a Magic Mat, and then a Sizzix plate because that's what fits on mine. And these aside so that they're out of the way. And then, so this one actually cuts off all of the excess. Poke this out, pull it out. I'm going to put this die to the side because as you can see, it's got lots of little stars and things like that. What's really cool about cover plate dies, if you have one that has stars like this one, or you have one that has hearts or maybe circles or things like that, you can actually use these to cut out if you don't want to have to buy like bling for shaker cards or to add into extra embellishments and things like that. You can cut this out. Like I could keep this star, for example, here, and if I had colored this, I could add this into like a shaker card or yeah, just some embellishments or something like that. But for these, I'm just gonna dump them because I've already spent a lot of money on supplies. So I'm going to do that. But if you want to use things strictly from your stash, cover plate dies are really great because you get 2 uses out of it. So you get not only the original use of it, which is to cut out your paper or your image, whatever it is, but also then you can utilize these little things as confetti or whatever to add the extra embellishment to your cards. that one down there. And so you can see it did a pretty good job cutting out. There's only a few little pieces here to poke out. I'm just going to give those a quick pop out. And go. And now what I'm going to do is I want to glue these two together, and I'm going to do the two thinner cardstock ones first, is what I'm going to glue together first. And I typically, so I'm gonna move this out of the way there. I typically like to put adhesive on the side that I'm going to be putting that's going to be facing up. That way, then if there's any in the bottom, it squidges out to that point. What have you done to your machine here, Corinne? Not coming out. Be right for not doing this before I go on camera. There we go. Okay. So and obviously I'm not going to be able to get it covering everything. I want to get the majority of the sides, some of the more open spaces, have a little bit of adhesive in there. Because again, it's just cardstock. It's not like it's super heavy duty. The bottom piece, I'm going to have to put maybe a little bit more on because it's going on a non-porous surface, like something that I used alcohol on, right? Like that iridescent cardstock. So it can be very sometimes difficult to get regular cardstock to stick to something that is so slippery. Can be challenging. Doesn't have to be, but can be. Try not to lose my little thing there. All right. So now I'm just going to line this up ish. And the nice thing about liquid adhesive is that you've got a little bit of wiggle time, which is very nice compared to using double-sided adhesive or something like that. And I'm going to bring that in like that. And you can see there, I've got a pretty good matchup. So that's good. Now, the piece that is this is the thicker one. As I said, I think I cut this out of 110-pound cardstock, so it's pretty heavy duty. Not that, again, because it's just going onto a card base, so it will also have that extra heft to it to be able to stick. So it doesn't have to have, this didn't have to be cut out of that, but I didn't know that I was planning on layering it. Mostly I'm layering it because I had to show you guys how to cut these out because I had already done all of the other ones and like because they're so finicky. This one has a lot of nice space to it, so it's not so bad. But let me tell you, doing this thing, that was a pain in the butt to try and get them together. Worth it, but a pain in the butt is what I will say. So yeah, I was just anticipating just doing one single layer for this guy. But plans change. Plans change. All right. Okay. So again, that layered up pretty darn nicely. I can just kind of continue to wiggle it a little bit if you feel like it's a little out of whack. So I'm just going to pull out my stamps here to kind of give it a little bit of a push down onto that. So while I'm waiting for that one to dry, what I want to do next is let me see. I think I had decided I liked this one on here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting this particular base. So as you can see, here's the color. So it's got a little bit of glitter alcohol ink in it. So this is one that I kind of swiped yellow and then took a one of the alcohol ink applicators, and just kind of put a couple of dots on the applicator, and then kind of went and smoosh, 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 smoosh. And I think I used like there's a green, there's a blue, there's a little bit of orange, some yellow. So there's all sorts of really cool colors. I was going to do a alcohol lift from this one, but I've decided I'm going to do this instead. So this is a 5 by 6.5 inch base. So just standard, I think these are called an A7, but don't quote me on that for sure. Okay. So as you can see, this is a little big, but what I want to do, because again, this is 4.5, sorry, no, 4.25 by 5.5. So it's going to be a little bit too, doesn't quite, like it's bigger than the card, right? So I'm going to need to trim this down. And this is on a, I believe it's 5.5 by 5, nope, 5.5 by 6. Oh, I must have trimmed this already a little bit. So 5.5 by 6. So if I look at this, this 6-inch side fits this way and my 5.5 fits this way. So I can actually get kind of a 1/4-inch border all the way around. So if I wanted to, what I can do is I'm actually just I'm gonna eyeball this. I'm not gonna glue it down, but I'm gonna eyeball this and then trim it using my guillotine trimmer here. And I'm trying to have about 1/4 inch all the way around. And 1/4 inch. Yeah, about 1/4 inch. So I'm going to come in here like this and kind of give it a bit of a trim here. Yeah, that should be all right. There we go. Now you can keep this and use it on the inside of the card if you want, so that it kind of ties things together. But here we go. Okay, so here's what this looks like. So now we've got, this is with it just in white. So we could strictly stick this on just like this. And let's move that over a little bit more. So I could just stick this on like that, call it a day. But you guys have kind of seen that before, right? So let's add a little bit of shading to this. So how are we doing that? I'm going to pull out some Distress Oxides. Nope, sorry, these are just Distress Inks, not the oxide. So I've got Squeeze Lemonade, Wild Honey, Salty Ocean, because I figured that those were the colors that were going to kind of be the closest to this. I also have Uncharted Mariner here in case I want to add a little bit of the darker blue. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to pull out. So I always like to start with the lightest color first. So I'm going to use some squeezed lemonade, and I don't have to put down a ton of color. And I'm just going to bring it in a couple of areas. Okay. And I don't even mind if I still have a little bit of white showing through, because it will help I mean, the card base is going to be white, so it doesn't have to be fully saturated per se, right? It should be the orange. So now I'm going to use a little bit of Wild Honey. It's the next color, which is kind of an orangey color. And we're just going to come in a couple of extra areas here. So I think I must have had some contamination on my yellow brush there. I might have to wash that out because it's kind of looking a little orangey, and usually Squeezed Lemonade is quite a light yellow. I'm going to have to clean that brush out a little bit. Orange. Okay. Now I'm going to take a little bit of Salty Ocean. That's the dark blue one. This is my light blue. Okay. Salty Ocean, we're going to bring that in. So when it touches onto the orange, not so much, but the yellows, it should still start giving me a little bit of green. You want to pay attention still to, I mean, distress colors pretty much all go to, just depending on how saturated you make them. Watch the ink blending videos. But you want to make sure that you're using light colors with light colors, taking your color wheel into consideration. Yeah. So you want to make sure that, you're paying attention to what that can look like, because you could end up with shades of brown. Now, on this particular thing, that won't necessarily matter, right? If I get some shades of brown, it'll be fine. But maybe that's not the look you're going for. So just make sure that you are paying attention to your color wheel choices, kind of thing, right? And primary colors and how all of that goes together, those kind of things. Okay. I have to say, I'm really loving how these colors are coming to. It looks very, I was thinking about my friend Matt here. He's totally into steampunk. And this is kind of like the turquoises and the browns and yeah, it's kind of funky dunky here. I'm liking it a little bit. So let's do another one in here. Get that in here. Make a lighter color there. Okay. So by adding those in now, so I've got some areas that it's quite dark. So I'm going to come in with a little bit, adding a little bit more color. But I do like some of these lighter areas here. So I'm going to cover this here, that to the side, and then bring this in. Okay, so look at how that has changed that a little bit. It's kind of highlighting some of the background, which is kind of cool. Now, what I think though, is that there's still a lot of dark color in this background. So this doesn't, so I think I am going to need to bring in a little bit of the Uncharted Mariner. So that's this one here. And let's pull that in just a few places. Let's always start small, right? Because you can always back it. Well, you can always add more. What you can't do is take the color away. That gets very, 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 very challenging. So Uncharted Mariner is kind of a tealy, like a darker teal blue color. So it's kind of a mix between a green and a blue, because it's like the deep ends of the ocean, right? Is it light blue? Is it dark blue? Like would it, you know, it's kind of an interesting color in that it changes a little bit like that. So I'm just adding a few darker spaces. I want to keep some of the lighter green too, like the salty ocean and the extra green that it made in here. Let's see here. What do we need? I want to get this a little darker right there. All right. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So that's it on uh so this is what it's looking like on white. So that's the other thing too, is if you don't want to put it over a background, if you've added color to it like this, actually, let's try this. Okay, so if you want to have a white on white textured card, there you go. White on white, put your sentiment on that. There you go. Very nice. So if you don't want to have to use the like an embossing folder or something like that, you can cut this out. Now you've got white on white with texture, depth, dimension, and add that in. If you wanted to use just a plain white background, but add some color, there we go. This kind of looks like almost like a fishing net a little bit with these colors on it, right? Now, before I put my card base down in this, let's clean up the ink here. And let's put that onto this. Yeah. Now it doesn't look quite so bright on there. I like the yellows. I like how it's popping. I want to add actually a little bit of that darker color right here. There we go. It's just a little too bright still down at that one corner. There we go. All right. Yeah, much better. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. Now, the last thing that I want to do, now I can just leave it as it is, but you can see here, it's actually, I must have had something on the cardstock or I've gotten it wet because it's actually already starting to oxidize or to change, like react to the water. So I'm going to pull out my sprayer. I think I'm going to pull out my sprayer. Where's my sprayer? There it is. There. Okay, so I have the Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer, and all I'm going to do is from a bit of a distance, I'm just going to do a couple of uh, larger spritzes. The really cool thing about the Distress Sprayer, you can spritz water with whatever. You can put it in your hand and kind of drip it and whatever, but you'll see here what the Distress Sprayer does is that you get a fine mist if you completely compress the handle, right? So the nozzle. So if you completely compress it, you get a beautiful fine mist, which is really nice, and a nice good quantity of water. But here you can actually see, I'm not sure if you can see that on my desk, but you can actually see the droplets. So if you just squeeze the trigger just minutely, then you get larger, almost like droplets of water. And the sprayer itself was designed in order to do that, to work with the distress products. Okay. So I'm going to wipe up the water left here. And now I'm just going to bring in this little cloth. I'm going to give this a bit of a dry. And we've got this really cool splotchy color on the side of it now, which I think will actually, yeah, it does, works really well with the background behind it because it looks like splotches or puddles or whatever you want to call it there. Okay. So now for this, I'm simply going to adhere this to my base. Okay. And so I want a good coating on the edge here. So, and again, this is going to be a non-porous surface. So I want to make sure that I'm getting a decent amount. Doesn't have to be like super clogged, but you want a good amount of adhesive where you can, because it's going to resist sticking, right? Because it's a non-porous surface. So it's not like the adhesive can sink into the cardstock. Fortunately, it's poster board, so it won't be as bad as if it was on, say, for example, like Yupo or something like that. Or actually the iridescent cardstock that I'm gonna, or not iridescent, the holographic, the laser printed stuff that I'm gonna use here in a minute. Okay. All right, so I've done a decent coating, and I'm going to stick that roughly in the center of my card panel here. Okay. And again, the adhesive that I'm using it's my favorite. So I'm using the Bearly Art craft glue, which will dry clear because you can, I don't know if you can see, there's some white squidgies coming out, and that's fine. I would rather have that because they have some tackiness to it, and that will dry clear. So I don't have to worry about it, not adhering and stuff like that. So I'm just going to turn that upside down for a minute, and I'm going to put my blocks on it to let it dry. Now, we've got, let's do this guy here. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let's just move on because otherwise we could be here all night because we know how my videos go, right? So what I want to do with this one is this is going to go behind this. So this is, again, another alcohol panel that I did on holographic laser printed cardstock and shades of green and green. It looks like there's a little bit of turquoise, but I thought it would be quite lovely behind here. Okay. So you'll just be able to see some of that shine from behind the card. So in order to set that up, what I want to do though, but I don't want it to be white on white. I want to have some color on here again. And for this one, because it's got so much more surface area compared to like these guys, the ones where it's pretty lot is cut out of it. What I've decided I want to do is I'm actually going to use Distress Oxides on these ones. And again, I want to kind of make it galaxy-ish. So what I'm going to do is we're going to use Twisted Citron, and I grabbed the wrong brush. So give me a moment here. Apparently I thought I was going to be using a yellow. I'm not using a yellow. All right. So the first color that I want to start with is going to be Twisted Citron. And it's this cool kind of a limey green. I'm gonna add some on my brush here. Dab a little bit off, and then I'm gonna come in random places like this. Well, it's not quite so random, actually. I kind of want to do a shot of green down the center. That. And then I'm going to do, let's do some, this is going to be, the next one is going to be the Salvage Patina. Okay. This is kind of a light turquoisey blue. And this one I'm going to bring in here. And again, and now the cool thing about oxides is because they're a pigment base, they're actually a hybrid. So they have dye and pigment in them. So they're yeah, they're in general, you want to consider them similar to a pigment-based ink because they're going to sit on top of your cardstock. They're not going to sink in like any dye-based ink. But because they sit on top and they have a property to them, they have kind of like a chalky property to them, it makes them very easy to blend. Very easy. They're kind of, nice butter. You get a nice deep and intense color. Mm. So that was Twisted Citron Salvage Patina. Now what I want to do is I'm going to bring in my Uncharted Mariner. So I'm not going to make it a black skyline. I want to make it like a darker night sky, but I don't only have hickory smoke. I'm noticing some of the areas where, I don't have totally full set syndrome, but sometimes I would like to. And there wasn't too long ago where I was actually considering not doing any oxides at all. And then I started blending with them and I was like, oh my God, this is so much easier than trying to blend with a dye-based ink. You can blend with dye-based inks and that's great. There's nothing obviously wrong with that and it's lovely. But because they're a pigment and have that special property to them, they just blend and go on and cover your cardstock just so nicely. This. I come in from the edges and I actually want to put a little bit of mint tape, particularly with oxides, because they are, again, like I said, they're this will stay wet for quite some time. So I'm just going to use this piece of tape to kind of hold my finger so I can hold the cardstock without getting, because you'll actually get fingerprints if you don't use something. You'll leave fingerprints in your project, which is, I mean, if that's what you're intending, sure, great. And in the meantime, I can also put a magnet on there too. Okay, now unfortunately, this Uncharted Mariner is the darkest, not unfortunately, but it's the darkest color of blue that I have. So I mean, I could have come in if I had chipped sapphire in the oxides. I could also come in and do some darker tones there, and or even if I had the black soot. It's really surprising to me that I don't have black soot in this, but that's okay. I will live. Okay. So I'm keeping kind of the area of the where I've added the lighter colors, trying to keep that open because I kind of want it to look a bit like a Milky Way, right? Like a bit of a galaxy kind of thing. Even even the Northern Lights. That's how you do a Northern Lights background is exactly that. You do a couple of stripes of like a turquoise and a green. You can add in a pink or a purple as well. And then you come in with your darker colors, like a black or a navy. And then you just kind of go in and around it. You're gonna darken up a little bit on the lighter colors so that it's not like woof in your face. But essentially you just leave them and they end up looking like these really cool stripes of color in the sky. Okay, so now I'm gonna move my piece of tape here. And I'm gonna put this to the side. And I don't even think that I have to go back in. Now I could go back in with my little bit of Twisted Citron if I feel like the colors have muted too much. If I wanted, I can come in and kind of just add, because there is still some color on my brush. So I can come in and go over uh, the Uncharted Mariner. So I can do that. I can come in with what's left on my Salvage Patina brush as well. Kind of bring that out. Because basically, when you're ink blending, it's a simple process of moving from lightest to darkest and moving your colors kind of back and forth. You end up going over them a lot. The more you go over them and bring, your dark into your light into your dark, then the easier your transition is. And it doesn't look so stark, like, where you get that harsh line of, oh yeah, they were definitely blending then and in that area or whatever. Okay. All right. So let's clean that up. All right. And here's our background. Not too shabby. Hey, didn't take too long. And again, because it's an oxide, so this is going to take a bit of time to dry. But what I can do now is come in again with my distress sprayer. And I'm going to add some water droplets. Mhm. Now, the water that I'm using actually has some perfect pearls in it, a little bit of perfect pearls, which is the name of the white color. But what you can see is it actually adds just a little bit of, maybe you can't see it. I don't know. Some of them might not be dry, but there's a little bit of sheen to it as well. So then I'm going to come in with my own cloth, give it a little bit of a dry here. Okay, like that. Now, this is going to take a little bit of time to dry, so I'm going to adhere my background to this part, to this, I'm actually going to adhere my panel to this panel, I guess is what it would be. And again, this one I am going to use a little bit more adhesive. There's a lot of good background here for me to use, like lots of space where I can put some liquid adhesive here. But because it's going onto a non-porous surface, so I want to make sure that when it dries, it's drying and it's sticking there, not going to lift. So sometimes you have to use a little bit more than you probably would think you would. I mean, using the glue press, it's still because it's such a fine tipped applicator. And I'm not, this is not a lot of glue. It looks like it's a lot of glue, but it's not. Um, sorry, concentrating here. I'm trying not to get it in the holes. But fortunately enough, even if I do get a little bit of glue that's going to squidge up through the stars and things like that, that's going to work out just fine because there's 3 layers, right? So it's not like it's going to come out onto the front of my cardstock where I've got all of my beautiful colors and etc. Okay, so now I'm just going to have this bit on here. Make sure I've got it in all of the areas, and I'm going to pick it up and kind of squidge it into place here. Okay. Excellent. What do you guys think? How cool is that? Hey, that's going to be a beautiful background. Oh, so loving it. Actually, I might have to do it this way. Anyway, we'll see. So now what I want to do while this is drying, I'm going to pick this one up because that one should be dry. And I'm going to put my stamp positioner, stamp blocks on that to kind of hold it in place. So this one has now adhered, and I'm going to add that onto my card panel, or onto my card base is the word I'm looking for. Thank you very much. Okay, and we will go here. Let's see. We're gonna kind of eyeball this because again, I am not really into a ton of measuring. And if I need to, I can always come back and trim off a little bit of the edges of the card, but looks like I should be okay. And what I want to do is while I've got this out, I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to adhere it right here and then trim off the extra just to kind of see. So when you open your card, right, you've got that nice little tie into it. Actually, because there's a space, I'm actually going to do a space like that. Okay. So while I've got it here. All right, so I'm going to fit that right up to the seam, like so. Yep. This way, and oh, I overshot the adhesive. Of course you did. So now I'm just going to take my scissors from the other side here and trim it. Of course, it landed adhesive side down. That's never good. So let's wipe that up. Edge there. Okay. So now we've completed this. Well, we haven't completed the card. We've got a pretty good start on it. So what do we think here? Let's pull. So we've got these two to complete, I think. That one's going to have to still dry. So here are some of the things that I pulled from my stash because I thought, oh yeah, let's put together some, some, we're going to put together the backgrounds and whatever. So I've got some really cute little guys here. So this I thought could be pretty cute on here, this little guy, right? So this is a stamp set. I'm pretty sure this actually came from Dollar Tree. I got some really cute stamp sets last year. My favorite aliens were actually just from Dollar Tree. So they were dollar 50, $1.25 or something like that. That's for the other set here. Okay, so now I also have, so I have these balloons, which I think are a little too bright for this particular one. This one could be okay. Like we could do that with that one. If you can see that there. Okay. We had, so I think, let me just put this here. So first of all, when I was looking at this and I was looking at the colors, I think this one is really springy. Does that look crooked to you guys? That's what happens when you eyeball things. Oh, well, it's okay. It's close enough. So I thought that this would be really cool, really cute to do this. And then you put a spring in my step, right? Because it's kind of a spring card. And I think that's really lovely. So, and this one I can pop up. So I'm going to glue this little guy like directly to the card. But this, I might put some pop-up tape behind it to kind of have it do that, right? So I colored this guy and put some glossy accents on the eyeballs, things like that. So what I want to do though, first, before I go ahead and glue it down, I want to put a black outline on it because it was cut out using a die. Oh, so this can't possibly have come from the dollar store then if it had a die. Maybe this is a whimsy one that my friend loves whimsy stamps, and they're all these. I think you guys have seen the ones where I've used like the ostriches and the pandas and the sharks. Yeah, so they're these really cute sets of these it's just these animals and things like that. And they're just adorable. And then you can get the dies to cut them out as well. So you have to color them, stamp them. And again, I recommend if you're stamping and you're have with the intent to color, I highly recommend Gina K amalgam ink in the Onyx, I believe it's called. And I recommend the amalgam ink because that way then when you're stamping, because I don't know about you guys, but I like to stamp a bunch of my images. I don't typically stamp just for like a when I'm doing these kind of things, I'll stamp a bunch of images like this because then I can take a bunch of these if I'm going to a crop or if I've got some time, if I'm traveling on vacation, I can take a bunch of these like this and take my coloring mediums instead of taking all sorts of other stuff. And I can just, and then I can color and feel like I'm still crafting while I'm on vacation without having to bring everything with me, right? So I like to do that. And then, so by doing that and using the amalgam ink, then I don't have to worry about what coloring medium I'm going to use. If I use amalgam ink, I can use pencil crayons, I can use watercolor markers, I can use alcohol markers, alcohol ink markers, whatever, because it is a ink that can be utilized for all of those mediums. Versus if I'm using watercolor, then I know I have to use a pigment-based ink that won't be reactivated. If I'm using alcohol markers, then I would have to use a dye-based ink because pigment-based inks would get reactivated by the alcohol. So in order to avoid all of that of which ink do I use when, watch one of my videos there on Inking 101 or on is it Inking 101 or is it Stamping 101? Might be Stamping. Anyway, so what it does is it allows the then you don't have to worry about what you've actually stamped with. You've got everything, you can just take it, and then you're good to start coloring. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. So it's a very subtle difference here of what I've done, but what has happened now, because by taking the black and I'm just using a fine, like a Bic permanent marker kind of thing. There's you can use a Memento or whatever you've got that's black. I'm taking it and kind of doing an outline here just to give it a nice finished edge. And you always want to do it from the back side because if you do, because you can see here where I ran into it and did a dot, I want that to happen on the back side of my card or of my image. not the front side, especially because I've already die cut it, I've already colored it. So I don't want to wreck it kind of thing, right? But what happens is it's a pretty subtle difference, but it gives it a nice finish break compared to where the white is. I'm going to try and bring this up and see if you guys can see the difference. It's very subtle, but it's one of the things that helps to make your card look finished. So this, although you can't see the black, has a very crisp edge to it. On this one, it's kind of white, so it just continues on. It's got the white space, and then it just kind of continues on, so it doesn't look like it's been edged. Same thing, for example, with this birthday wishes. Okay? So this is one side, so I'll show you here as I go from the back, and we'll do a nice, see if I can get a nice heavy line on this, and I'll try and do just half and half. I'm kind of doing this backwards. I'm supposed to do this way. I just told you to do it from the back, didn't I? Again, this is the channel of well, I try not to be do as I say, not as I do. It just doesn't always work. Sometimes it's a good idea to have somebody who's demoing, oh yeah, this is really not what to do. So you guys don't have to do that. Speaking of what not to do, I was pulling out all of my sentiments and things that I was considering using today and managed to tip over my binder. And so half of it has all fallen out. Okay, so this is a very let's see, I'll do that on the back of here to see if you can see. Okay. So there's an edge. You can see this says it was stamped in Gina. That way that I know what I can use, what I can't. So this is the edge here that has been colored with black. And it kind of gives it a finish. Versus here, if I was putting this on white, if I was putting this on a white card front, then it's white right into white. Okay. So instead, you can see here, it looks like it has a finished border that way with the black on that side compared to here. So that's one of the benefits of utilizing and putting like edging your die cuts. Is it a have to? Of course not. No, it's not a have to at all. Will it help take your card making and your embellishing to another level? Yes, it will. And that's kind of the point. It's just another way to add a finished detail, not a finished, a slightly more finished, polished look to your cards. That's I think a better way of explaining that. I'll make that nice and dark. Oh. Now from the front, if I'm just looking at that, you can't really see that. So it doesn't look like anything. But let's pull this back in. Now look at, there's a very definite edge. So it almost adds a shadow as well. So even if I didn't pop that up, right? Because popped up, here's what it does. So it adds that little bit of black. So it kind of gives you that shadow. But by having the edge on it, it already gives it that extra little bit of depth and dimension. Okay. As oh geez, her name is escaping me at the moment. There's a lady who does the oh, she's one of my favorite because she cracks me up. I think it's Laura Basson, I think it is. Anyway, she does videos for Simon Says Stamp. She's she's on their design team and she cracks me up. She does everything in rainbows. And then she adds multiple layers and everything she says, because it's like, depth and dimension, because you always want to add dimension. And then she starts to sing, because dimension is love, which just, I mean, it cracks me up every time. It's pretty funny. If you haven't watched her, I highly recommend it. Subscribe to the Simon Says Stamp channel and you'll get lots of really great their design team is just excellent. They have lots of releases. If you don't want to see lots of new releases and stuff like that, if you're okay to just watch things and have just have the techniques and not feel like you have to go out and buy everything, absolutely subscribe to them. They're excellent. There's a couple other people as well. Jennifer McGuire is one of my favorites. Christina Werner, Kathy Zilski, most I like to watch. Sasha Reed. It's a lady out of my name is I'm blanking on her name. It's another lady out of New Zealand. She's really great. And she really proponents like really highlights using your own stash, right? So for me, it's I'm clearly not on any design teams. I don't want to tell you where to spend your money or anything like that. And you know, you utilize your stash. Absolutely. That's why it's there. Hopefully at some point in time you liked it. And so I like to try and figure out, you know, if you're a card maker or you're looking into it, guess what? You've likely got cardstock. You probably have some black ink for stamping. You've probably got some images like this or some flowers. It doesn't even have to be these cute critters. Could be some flowers or uh, I don't know, like silhouettes or old fudge. Um, I don't know. You know, you've probably inexpensive materials would be another would be like a embossing folders, because embossing folders are usually like even here in Canada, they're usually anywhere from $10 to $15. If they've got the die that goes with it, then they tend to go up to closer to 20-ish, 20 to 25. But cover plate dies can be pricey because they're made out of metal, right? They're not plastic, so they can be pricier. So maybe you don't have these, but how can you, you know, how could you make this work? Or if you're looking at investing in a cover plate die, how many other ways can you use it? So that's the, you know, that's the gist of what I try to do on my channel. Um, you know, doesn't always work out that way, but that's in a nutshell what I like to try and do. Okay, so let's add some foam tape behind this guy because I've been nattering enough here. Let's get this on the go. You guys don't want to be, well, maybe you do want to be with me all night. Okay. How is everybody doing? It's been a long, well, I don't know, maybe it's been a long time, maybe it hasn't been. It feels like it's been a couple of weeks now since I've done a video. Lots has changed in the world since I, you know, the last video that I did and posted. And you know, I don't particularly want to talk politics because that's, you know, that's always a challenging thing for a lot of people. And you know, we're kind of here to have fun and, you know, kind of forget some of those worries and stuff. But how is, you know, how's your life? How are things going? You know, I've had some interesting things I've in the last couple of months. I think I talked to you guys about it in one of the last videos, but yeah, I was recently diagnosed with autism and ADHD, which you know, when I talked to my doctor about it, she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, "I kind of knew already. It's not like it was super surprising. I just think you know, I wasn't no, I just think I didn't necessarily know what's what and what that means and those kind of things. And so it's been an interesting discovery of, oh, that's why I'm like that. And you know, my brother's favorite statement to me, why do you like that, Corey? And it, you know, it cracks me up. And I'm like, I don't know. Why aren't you like this? Turns out there's a good reason. And so you know, it's mostly just been a time of getting to know myself and to understand myself and things like that. And what's been really funny, oh, I think I want to pull another piece of that over. What's been really funny is I've been replaying in my head, because that's often what happens for me. Some of the videos I've been doing, and I'm like, did I just start talking about something and then just kind of leave it because I got distracted by something else? I think I have been. So which is kind of why I wanted to, you know, let you guys know this is what's going on. And so, um, one of the ways that my autism or ADHD happens is that I get hyper focused on things. So when I'm crafting, like I can go hours and hours, like I'm not hungry, I don't think about anything. I'm just crafting. I get focused on that, right? Hyper focused. So same thing like when I'm trying to talk about what I'm doing while while I'm videoing, it's oftentimes there's this silence or that I become aware, oh, I haven't been saying anything, and then I just start to fill the air with comments and whatever. So it's a um just a curious and we're gonna go with I'm going to go with adorable trait of mine. I'm sure that that's not the experience for everybody, and I'm everybody that experiences me. I'm sure that's not how they feel, but I'm going to go with that because I'm trying to be a little gentle on myself and have some grace. But one of the things, so one of the reason why I was talking about this is so as I've been learning this, and of course I'm my ADHD is hyper focused, um, is that now that I'm learning about this, now, of course, now I'm starting to focus on it. So now it's a lot of questions of, is that what it is or is it not? You know, and so learning about it, and it takes these, so that's where a lot of my mind seems to be versus before it was kind of zoned out and quite unconscious regarding it. And you know, so I'm preferring this way now, but it is leading to a lot of rats and funny little um how adorable is that? That is so cute. See, and this card, so if I were to stamp this, what I would do on the inside, I think this would be a great spring birthday card. Just have a like a happy birthday or wishing you well, or today's your day. This could be a congrats card, could be a thank you card, a thinking of you card, right? There's nothing specific about this particular one. So I'm not going to stamp anything on the inside just yet because I don't want to have to, I don't know what it's going to be for. So we're going to put that one to the side for now. Okay. Let's complete this one. So one of the things that I had pulled out is I have this cute little boy that I had previously colored. How cute is that? What is that? And then like I thought this would be really cute. I could do almost like this and then do a hello, hello, hello. Just kind of like that, which is kind of cute, right? That's very cute, actually. It's very cute. Hello, and you know, whatever, could do that. The other thing that we could do is I could do, this would go like this, and I could do this. So just do that and then do birthday wishes, and I could pop up the birthday wishes like that. That's not bad. This is an incredibly difficult die stamp and die to utilize. I think I've only gotten one or two of them used out of all of the ones that I colored, just because it's challenging to use. So, but I think I liked this. Actually, this was really cute, kind of adorable, this little guy here. So we could do a hi. 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 That's kind of cute, right? That's not bad. I kind of like the hello better though. So I think I'm going to do the hello, that to the side. And I'm going to do this here. But in the meantime, I think what I would like to do is add, I don't want it quite so stark white on this. So I am going to take my brushes and add just a little bit of color. So we have the light blue on there. So let's do the light blue at the top. So I still have color from when I was earlier blending. So I don't have to add a lot because I don't want to add a ton of color here. I just want to take down the white a little bit. Okay, so we have that one. And then we had the darker blue. So let's add a little bit of the darker. So the Mariner, Uncharted Mariner here. That. And then I want to do, so I didn't use the purple earlier, but I'm going to bring in, so I don't know if there's actually any on here after I clean my brushes. Look like there's a little coming out of there. Just a bit. To be too dark. I think we do need a little bit of color on there. So let's go. Blues and those purples together. Right. Go. Yeah, whoopsie. Trying to I'm having company next weekend, and let me tell you, company that's coming and going to be here like crafting, so they're actually going to be in the craft room. And let me tell you, I've been, you know, I mean, you guys have all been seeing. Oh yeah, see now, look at how nicely. So it's still bright, right, but not stark. Look at the difference. So see if I can get that. Whoops, shoot. So this helps to tie into the colors that are already on the card versus having it this bright white kind of color there. Yeah. So it just makes it come together just a little bit more. And I don't even think I'm going to pop any of these up. But I do have to do the back of this guy here. So let's get that going to go. Anyway, yeah, so as I was saying, I'm going to be having a friend of mine is her birthday is next week. So this coming weekend, I'm going to a crop that a friend of mine is hosting, and it's a charity crop for Kinsmen. Yeah, and I'm quite looking forward to it, and I'll be teaching a class. And the video for that class, so you guys will get to see it, comes out on March 19th. So in 2 weeks from when this goes out. And yeah, it's on the bokeh effect, and I'm really quite looking forward to it. Keep an eye out for that. So I'll be teaching that class, and then yeah, and then the following weekend I'll be having some friends here. I've got 3 weekends in a row of crafting actually. But the point of I was trying to make is that I'm having company here, and let me tell you, there's nothing like having people going to be coming into your craft room to get you quite serious about cleaning and making space in your craft room. And I'm very excited because I finally got a door on my bathroom down here. So I think if you guys all saw the original cleaning and organizing challenge from last year, which I filmed January 1st of 2024. I think I put it out. And I had intended to have it completed in a year. So it's gone on a little longer, but I'll actually be pretty darn close to finished by mid-March now. So which is good. So, as I said, there's been a lot of change in my life over this last year. So I wasn't able to manage the year deadline, but that's okay. It's a lot better than what it was. So I'm pretty happy with that. But if you're procrastinating in any way, I highly recommend having people come to your house, because then you'll be like, good God, I got to get that done. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm looking forward to it. It's given me quite the kick in the tuchus to have to uh kind of get this done here. So okay, so like I said, for these guys, I'm just going to be adhering them directly to the card. I am adding a lot more adhesive than I probably would for a sentiment, but it's because there's so much dimension here, right? So I want to make sure that it's adhering to as much of the background as possible. So I want to stick that there, because there's a lot of, like, it's not going to touch the card, the card panel itself. It's only going to be adhering to the dimensional card front here. Okay, go. And let's put this guy here. He's so cute. Yeah. And do that. And again, like I said, I'm putting more adhesive on this than I would normally for something this size. I mean, it's still not a ton of adhesive, but I want to make sure that all of these little pieces are stuck down, right? So I think that this would be an adorable birthday card. I've my husband's young cousins. We've got a couple of young people in our family now, and I think this would be really cute for some of the boys, which because it's got a boy, right? Look at how cute is that? So cute. Now, and if I wanted, I could put glossy accents on the hello, just to kind of give it that little bit of pop. Let me see, how long have we been here? It's been a while, so I won't do that today, but um, yeah, I'll show you the example of what that looks like. So now, in order to see here, I'm going to stick this, oopsie. I'm not going to complete this background, but I am going to stick it on the card so you guys can kind of see what it looks like and how that works. Now, I could put this onto one of these white ones and have a huge amount of white space. That would be, I mean, that's quite lovely like that. That's really nice. But I could also do it on just a simple A2 card base like this. Do I want it to be? No, I like it this way. Okay. So seeing as how I've done so many of the larger cards, I'm going to stick it onto this one. And let's see here. Now, this is cardstock to card, basically. So it's got like the paper background, paper backing of this. I don't know why I keep wanting to say iridescent. That's not what it is. Holographic paper is actually paper on the back. So I don't need a lot of adhesive for it to stick. Now, is nice. Ooh, I missed a piece there. One spot. Can I get that off there before I glue it down? I didn't trim this well enough. Well, let's get that out of there. Just trimming. I can just see there's a little bit of the holographic just sticking out the edge here. So just bringing a little bit of my scissors. Okay. Now let's stick that down before I lose my stickiness, right? Oh, come on. I think that's not bad. Pretty good. Okay. That. Now, how cute. So I haven't finished doing these guys, but I was thinking this would be absolutely adorable with, so this guy has already been colored, but look at this little guy with the balloon. And then this guy down here also floating with the balloon. And we could just do birthday wishes, could do that. I kind of like this high. That works, right? So if we did like that, don't even have to have two of them. I don't even have to have a sentiment on here, but this hugs and kisses would be cute. Okay, so that's possible. Look at how adorable that is. That's so cute. So because I haven't finished coloring this guy, I'm not going to stick him down. So that's why we're not going to finish this one. But that's one option. The other thing, let's say you're more into flowers or leaves and foliage and those kind of things. Okay, well, we can also use something like this. Let's say, for example, we're going to, now, for this particular background, I probably wouldn't use this kind of thing because it's more stars. So it you know, reflects well to have something more in the sky, like a hot air balloon or floating critters or even just a simple sentiment of you're one in a million or you're my favorite person in the galaxy. That would be a really cute like statement to just have that. Even just doing hello. You don't need anything else beyond that. That is easy peasy. Then you can do your not easy peasy, but that's complete just like that. You can take a little bit of the white off if you want to add a little bit of using your brushes or something like that. Could even something as simple as, birthday wishes. Pop that up. You don't need anything else other than that. That is complete. That's done. It's very nice that way. But you could do, so I've got, let's say I've got this nice sprig, and I could add something to birthday wishes like that. Could finish it. Okay. Like I said, in general, I probably wouldn't use flora or something like that on this particular background, but it could work. You could do, again, I could just do simple hi. So I've got that there. And let's add this guy. And you would just kind of hide that underneath there. You've got a little bit of texture popping off. Pop up your hi. Call it good. Okay, so I hope that this has been enlightening. Hopefully the next video, because I won't have to show you all of the background, the back cover plate dies. Hopefully the next one will go a little quicker. But it's me, can't guarantee. But on the upside, you should have been able to get, again, a complete card out of this. So we've done the steps all the way through so that you can do this and recreate this at home, because that's the main point, right? Is that you want to be able to recreate this. Okay, so here are, let me move this to the side so we can get a good picture. Okay, so these are the backgrounds. So these are the previous ones. So as you can see, I used some foliage on this. I had the background. I added some of my background colors to the cover plate die. I used a butterfly. I tucked my foliage just underneath my sentiment, added some, what's it called? Wink of Stella to give it a little bit of shine. Call it good, right? Okay, same thing. This one already had a lot of glitter behind it, so I didn't want to add a lot of shine. But again, I had a nice piece of foliage here that I could tuck just underneath my sentiment, so I don't have this thing hanging out. And then just added some butterflies that I had already foiled, colored, and then cut using my die cuts. Okay. So those are the two that were previously done. And then these are the two that we did today. So we've got, again, bringing in the colors from the background onto the cover plate dies. So just to add, make it not white on white, so stark. And again, same thing. So this one I had already previously colored, but it already had that there. Add a little bit of color to the sentiment so it wasn't sticking out, because you can see this is really bright compared to that. Okay. And then we have the other one. So, and again, I'm not going to complete this one because the items that I want to color, I haven't finished yet. So I'm not going to stick them down on that. But that's going to be the class today, guys, or the video, whatever you want to call it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please put them down in below. Any questions, any suggestions. Remember, please keep it kind. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Please pass it along to your friends. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Uh, Hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hope you keep enjoying your spring. Bye bye.